Welcome to the Unsidelined Life, the podcast that challenges and encourages women to stop denying themselves a full life and to step boldly into the opportunities God is preparing for you. Join me for raw insights and engaging conversations to guide your journey of self-discovery and pursue the life that God created for you. Hi, I'm Eileen Noyes. I used to be part of the NFL world, and my heart has been because of what I have gone through, or just that living in that world, understanding that world, and in the dynamics that I personally was in. I have a heart for and a compassion for the women that are going through it now. It's so funny. I say like I played, but I was in the league from 2001 to 2009. And that in itself was hard. And so I look at the women now, I'm like, man, like that's just a world that unless you're in it, there's a lot of things that you just don't understand. I think that there's like a lack of compassion for these women because they seem to have it all. And so my heart has always been one for them, but two, for people to see that there's a person behind the wife of this person and that person, this player and that player. And so my heart has been like, I want their voice to be heard. I want that that strong woman behind that successful man. I want her to be able to have this voice. And so so what I've been doing, again, like I wrote this book so that I know more. I touch up on like I touch up on the different things, like, you know, the transition in when you go from like your life and then you drop everything for your spouse and you join him in his world. I talk about the relationship with spouse, the challenges of that. I talk about family dynamics, expectations, the tickets, the the food, the paying for the dinners, all that stuff. I talk about my own shopping addiction, and I talk about transition out of the game. So these are all things that all, you know, athletes and their wives will at some, you know, time they're going to be confronted with. So I wrote that book to reach out to help people navigate and for just kind of an eye opener. And so as I'm trying to get this book planted out to these women, like I see it as like a seed, which is definitely hard when you're like way out of the league. Like finally, so my ex played for the Packers last year, which is 2020, who won the Super Bowl? This year, Kansas? No.
Oh,
Chiefs, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. See, that's how, yeah, that's, but so like this last year, I was like, whoa, Aaron is gone. Mason is gone. And I was like, wow, I'm officially like completely separated from the Packers, which is kind of good, fun because I was able to watch the game in a whole different way. I don't know. It was just weird. And, so that's been my heart. But then again, like, how do I reach these women? Well, let me just, you know, let me like ask questions from the ones that I knew, ask them if they read the book. If they haven't, it's okay. But just, I wanted to kind of just bring this to light. And so as I was reaching out to different women, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is how I know this one. This is how I know this one. So this is only come from my perspective, but it was just touching up on a whole bunch of different topics. And so one guest that I have, which I'm so excited to have, is Emily Nelson. So a little bit of and this is a very little bit. So yesterday I did a first interview. So, well, you know, interview number one was June McKenzie. June McKenzie came in before me, or she was there. Actually, she wasn't even, they didn't play there, but she was a coach's wife, turned player personnel, turned GM's wife. So she was someone that I didn't know very well. Like I kind of knew, and but just seeing like the wealth of wisdom and like how far ahead of me she was, I was just able to like kind of watch her from a distance. And so then on the other spectrum, I have Emily Nelson, who I don't remember, like, I think it was like maybe you came in and we were leaving. So
yeah, how did his last year go? Did he make it through a full season or did he get?
No, he got cut 2009, like on Halloween. Was that your first year?
Our first year was 2008.
Okay.
So we went, I guess made it through a season. Yeah.
Did he come in with Aaron? or was
No, he would
Aaron
have
before
been a
that?
year. No, he would have been a couple years after Aaron.
Okay.
Um, yeah, but he when Aaron got the starting job, that was Shorty's first year. So
Okay.
they are kind of connected in that way.
Okay, that's what I felt. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I figured.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm excited to have Emily because like I said, like, we have relationships that are like kind of in passing, and then you have the people that and then you have the ones that go the other way. And so it's almost like I kind of see it like in a sense like the NFL is like high school. Like you come in as a freshman, and it's like the dynamics of like at least for me, outside in is like that there's the PWA, the Packer Wives Association. And you think, okay, well, how much do I want to get involved? And you're trying to be out there in the community, or at least I think for me there was a pressure like, uh-oh, he's in the limelight. I should do my part. And I did that. And then the kids come into the mix, and then you kind of pull out of that, and then you focus on your family. And so I just see, I don't know, it's just like this gradual thing. And even outside looking at someone like Deanna Farr, I saw that. I saw like the ones that were older than me, like how at first they were more engaging. And then there's a point where it's like, you know what, like I have to prioritize my family. So I love that I get to talk about different things. When I think about Emily, so this is how I know Emily. Like more than the Packers, our kids went to the same school. And so that's how I remember, like, yeah, we had our two, was it one of our kids each were in the same grade. So
Hmm.
I do remember that. I remember, like you had the parties, like where everybody brought like baked goods. And I was the one that brought peanuts on the peanut allergies. So I'm like, okay, this is great. So it was really like not much of just kind of like, yeah, I would say worlds in passing. And so just outside looking in, I saw, oh, like we have a lot of mutual friends and things like that. So this is gonna be a totally like, yeah, different. This will probably be a first, like I would say, first heart to heart conversation. I don't remember if we did like if we had Bible study, maybe like
Um, well, I know you used to host one for
okay.
girls, on Sundays or something.
It's like in
Whatever.
the mornings.
And
Yeah.
yeah, for some reason I was feeling like it was maybe Saturday or Sunday mornings, and it was our first year or two. Well, really throughout his whole career. I mean, we always had people in every home weekend for games, and so I don't think I ever made it to because we always had people
Okay.
in. I don't think I ever made it to the Bible studies that you hosted.
Okay.
Um, if you ever went to the one that they had at like Green Bay Community, I
Which
went to this, but
okay.
yeah, we
Okay.
really have to sit down and talk
Yeah.
at length. Yes.
Yeah, pretty crazy to think, but we definitely have some really good, strong mutual friends. And then also I want to ask you, like, so let's, in terms of the friend thing, did you, well, no, before that, like, yeah, introduce yourself, how, like, what's the connection, obviously, with the NFL and all that.
Okay. Well, I'm Emily Nelson. My husband Jordy played with the Packers for 9 years, 2008 through 2000. I think 2000, yeah, 17 was his last season with the Packers, and then he played one season with the Raiders. Um,
I didn't know that.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, wait, no,
Uh, so he played for 10 seasons total.
okay. Wow. Okay, and so you are from, yeah, where are you from?
From Kansas,
Okay.
rural Kansas, and we're back where we grew up. So yeah, I guess some more background information about the two of us. We grew up together. We met when we were 5, went to the same small country church, went to the same small school. I mean, in country terms, I guess you could call us neighbors. We lived a few miles apart, but there's not many people in between. Um, we started dating, I guess we went out, whatever that means, in 7th grade, when you don't even really talk to each other. Actually,
Yeah.
probably talk to each other less then than when we were just friends.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just make this
um,
very unnatural.
yes, yeah. And then started, I guess, officially dating at the end of our freshman year of high school and have been together ever since. So we did go to different colleges. He went to Kansas State, played football, obviously. I went to a smaller NAIA college about 2 hours away and played basketball. So
Cool. Oh
kind of
my.
we stayed together, but did kind of the long distance thing for a while.
Okay.
So
I love like just these. I love that I get to hear something I never would have thought. You played basketball?
yeah, I
Were you
did.
point guard? Were you like,
Point guard, shooting guard. Yeah,
do you
yeah.
miss it?
I used to be like fast and quick, so I was good on back in
Yeah.
the.
Okay. So I'm just contrasting you and my guest yesterday. You know June. Were they there at the time?
Uh, maybe like a year. Jordy knew Reggie. Yeah, I think I maybe met her early on, but they were gone, I think, pretty quick after we got there.
And then were they there when you guys were at the Raiders then as the GM?
Um, no. So again, he kind
Isn't
of
that crazy looking back at
I know. I think he shoot, what was his name? Anyway, some like ESPN pundit got I forget his name, which is so terrible, but got hired as the GM for that one
okay.
year.
Oh, for
John
the
Gruden
year.
was well, he was there. We were just there a year. He was there a couple years with John Gruden, and then yeah,
Okay.
they were gone. So
Okay. Yeah.
so I think it overlap. But Jordy did know Reggie. So I mean,
Okay.
some I think there was a little bit of overlap at
Gotcha.
some point. But
What a
but
contrast.
yeah, so
Oh, go
we
ahead.
well, just to lead up to when he got drafted. So we got married. So we're the same age, but I graduated a semester early and he went a semester long to because he redshirted his freshman year of football. So he had an extra semester that he could play, which was really good because that's probably what got him into the
Oh,
NFL
yeah, yeah.
was his senior season. And so we got married the summer after I graduated. And then I taught kindergarten that next year while he finished up school, finished his last season. His parents had a restaurant, so he kind of worked at the restaurant some.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
and so then, yeah, and that whatever it was, April, he got drafted to the Packers. So it was a little unexpected. I guess not totally. I
Mhm.
don't think he ever thought it was a real possibility until his senior year and after we were married. So it was kind of I guess, a fun unexpected thing that we
Oh,
of course every boy dreams of being a professional athlete if you like sports like
yeah.
that's what you say you want to be and so of course he had said that when he was little and stuff but he I don't think he really thought it could be a reality until his senior season so
Wow. Okay, that's good. Okay, I'm gonna make sure that I'm recording. I think it's recording, right? Okay, okay.
I think it
Um,
was yeah.
okay. Um, so like along the line, so yeah, so I'm here like contrasting how you guys knew each other at 5. That's insane. And like, I'm thinking about June. She met Reggie, I think she said 4 days after the draft. And so, like, there was um, no thought, no anticipation of like entering into this world. And so it's really cool talking to her because there was like a tone and like a as I'm talking about this whole thing, her theme, she kept bringing up foundation. And she was talking about the foundation of trust, the foundation in the Lord. And it was like, I was like, wow, like you didn't let the NFL like influence you. They were just so focused on, the time of their lives, like getting to know each other and building their foundation as a couple, that it was almost like the NFL was just kind of like afterthought, like, oh, by the way, we're in it and then I hear you, and then I think like, wow, you guys were married beforehand. So you were already solid in that. And then also for you guys, it's like you guys are like journeying together in this. And so even for you, it didn't sound like there's this like these big dreams and like years and years of like, oh my gosh, one day you're gonna make it in. And so it's like I think about like the different scenarios. I think about like the draft And just from what we experience and like whether like my own experience or when I see people come in and I don't know how much you've experienced this, but there's a lot of people that um players and wives and the family expectations and the joy of the draft and the expectation and the like the celebration of the draft is like I look at that going, oh my gosh, like on the other side, it's not that easy. And so we know people that have, broken relationships, like, burned bridges in relationships. Like, did you, and this again, like recorded or not, like, well, like, or like, if just to talk about it, like, did you experience that? And again, like, if you don't want this in it, well, we can not, yeah, keep it in. But did you experience that? Like, how is it? And even if you don't touch up on that, how is your transition into the NFL? You and Jordy.
Um, I do feel, I guess, really lucky that we didn't have to navigate like being newly married and being in the NFL all at the same time, which a lot of people, I guess,
Yes.
people do, or get married, in the midst of the NFL, which again is tricky because you go from being a girlfriend to a wife. I do feel really lucky that having grown up together, and having been part of each other's families for so long, like luckily family wasn't really an issue. It was
Oh, yeah. I could see that. It makes sense. It
yeah.
makes sense that you wouldn't have those. Okay. Wow.
So yeah, relationship wise, we just yeah, well, I mean, we were both from farming, I guess what you would maybe call middle class families. I mean, we weren't without, I mean, we didn't have super fancy stuff. I mean, we could go on vacation and stuff like that, play summer sports, and at least that I know of, it wasn't an issue. But um, so I don't know, like the expectations from our families were never, they never wanted anything from us, really.
Yeah.
So I mean, relationship wise, like the family relationships, yeah, stayed pretty intact. And we actually,
Wow.
after we retired, we took separately, but we took both of our families on vacation, just mostly as a thank you, for just not being an issue while we were
Yeah, right? Thanks
uh,
for not causing us some, like, the
right.
major heartache because it's
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
wow.
Well, and I mean, you hear, stories, I mean, across all professional sports about family, or even like, I don't know, just people that were in your life that feel like they're owed something. And we never experienced that. So
Wow, you are probably I'm wondering if, like, if if you're, like, probably, like, a very, very, very small percent.
I would guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. And okay, so these are things that come to mind as like, like okay, so we're all put in this situation where we're kind of plopped into this world and we don't like it's like okay, who can we look to and find connection with and things like that. And so, like I said, as I've like, as I've thought about the different women and the different ways that I know them, like from my point of view, I was like, wow, like I've seen like people from the Midwest. I've seen like generally, like culturally, like they seem more quiet and they seem like more yeah, like, I always feel like, "Gosh, they have so much drama." They don't have drama. In your case, it happens to be just straight true, but also I can see like, I mean, that's the reality that culture plays a part, and so I was just talking about this with a friend of mine, like, you talked about you guys are from, like, I forget the term, but, like, you guys are farmers, like, you have, like, that middle class, like the blue is it called blue collar,
Blue
right?
collar.
It's
Yeah.
like yeah, it's like you guys like there's this mentality that you just go, so it makes sense that if they have that, there's not there's not the expectations that other cultures I mean, again, like, I'm gonna hit on, like, things like, this is the reality, and so to see, like, like the simplicity and to see like, wow, like you didn't have to go through a lot of the stress that a lot of people have had to go through. And so, did you ever feel like disconnect in that way? Or did you ever feel like, wow, like thank God for that? Like, what was your take if when you heard different things like around you? Or did you hear that? Because I don't, again, we weren't on the same at the same time.
I mean, some, not a ton. I don't know. I guess I just felt empathy for people that had to go through that. Because it's not an easy thing to have to deal with or a road to navigate. I mean, when people have these expectations of you and you know, feel differently, maybe.
Yeah.
um, so yeah, I mean, I guess I've always been more of a listener than a talker. So I would, just if people, usually if people need to get something off their chest, I listen. I don't always give advice. If I think I
Mhm.
have good advice, I'll give advice. But yeah, mostly just felt, I guess, empathy for the people who
Yeah.
had to do that thing. But
And I also can see too, and this is like me just almost like reflecting on myself as you kind of look and you think about culture. I'm like thinking, well, man, like maybe they don't have issues, or like maybe they don't want to, share their stuff. But like you literally just said, like if you can't relate, what can you say? Like
mhm.
how can you help? So I think there's just this place where you're saying, yeah, like I can't, like wish I can help you, but I can listen. Like there's that part of like you just opened my eyes to go, wow, like okay, if they don't have that drama, like yeah, what can you say? What can And so
Yeah,
I know
and I don't get me wrong. I mean, every family has their
yes,
so it's
right.
not like we're perfect in any way. But yeah, and his I mean, both of our families came to a lot of games away and home. His mom actually went to every single, knowing that the end was kind of drawing near. His
Mhm.
in Green Bay, she went to every single game home and away the whole season. And so
Wow.
he just really wanted to make sure she enjoyed it while she could and was there to support him. And so yeah, they were there, but they just didn't ever expect us to like, I mean, we got them tickets, obviously. We didn't expect them to buy tickets.
Yes.
But usually found their own way, that whether they drove, which it was only a 12-ish hour drive, which isn't terrible. And so a lot of
Yeah.
times where we were from, people would just drive, whether it was friends or family or whoever would come up. But yeah, people usually just found their own way. And then most of the time they would stay with us. I would usually, I mean, you can probably relate, just would joke that my job was running a bed and breakfast because
Right, yeah.
we had people, I mean, like I said, pretty much his entire career, we had people come for every single home game. And so there
Wow.
was a lot of hosting and a lot of meal planning and a lot of, yeah, just entertaining, and which was fine. I mean,
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah,
not enjoy it.
yeah.
But that was, yeah, oh, that's the life we lived for that period of time.
Yeah, so, okay, so, like, staying on this, like, like, as you are, more quieter, as you refer to yourself as a listener, like, when he got, like, more famous, did you feel this pressure that you had to be in the limelight with him? Like, because there's those seasons of, oh, like, Jordy's gonna be in commercials, he's gonna do this, like, did you feel this pressure that you had to be there too?
I I don't maybe a little bit, but I knew my limits. Like
Mhm. Okay, that's good.
I so we did he did it was a Wisconsin tourism commercial, I think, that they had asked. Royal was our only child at the time, so they had asked me and Royal to be in it a little bit. And so we did that, and it was fun. It was a new experience. Like, it's fun to kind of see behind the camera and how things are done. It was definitely out of my comfort zone, but it was fun.
Yeah.
um his marketing guy asked me a couple times to do some like speaking things or whatever, and I'm like, no, it would just be terrible for me. It would be terrible for everybody listening. Like, it's just not really something, it just wasn't something I had a heart to do, I guess. And
Yeah.
not that they were bad causes or it wasn't something that I felt was worthy. It's just not. my personality. I'm a behind the scenes kind of person.
Okay. So you're
I'm a-
behind the scenes and you're good, content, don't feel like I have to be something that I'm like not. Cause yeah, like, okay.
yeah. Well, but also, I mean, and you touch on this in your book. I mean, your book is about this pretty much the whole way through. It's not, we were both raised in Christian homes. We had that foundation. Jordy always, I mean, people, I don't know, I guess I don't know what question he's asked, but he will always say, and still will say, like he has always identified more as a farmer than he ever did as an NFL football player. So um, I guess just having, I mean, that background, but also just knowing who we were in Christ and like centering our marriage around him and not football and what it could do for us, like we totally enjoyed it. I mean, and it has brought us opportunities and things
Yeah.
that we never would have done. And I actually I'm not very good at self-reflection either. So I actually called my mom in anticipation of the interview and I was like, what did you I asked her, I was like, so what did you observe, like, from when we first got into the NFL to when we
Yeah.
left? Did we change? Like, what did you see happen? And she was like, I don't know that it changed you. Like, you're still the same people, still had the same like foundation beliefs. But she did say that she felt like it developed us. Like it brought us both
Oh,
out, I would say,
yes.
because we're both pretty introverted. We're both so you mentioned like the parties and stuff. Like I like to be social. Um and I don't know that I put two and two together at first, but now just being older and just kind of knowing myself better maybe. Um I like to be social, but I like to be in a comfortable setting, which is
Yeah.
my home, where it's people that I invite in. Like I like to be social. And even, and there were times that like people would bring people I didn't know. And that was totally fine. Like that didn't bother me at all. But I was in the comfort of my house. So it was fine. So it was good and it was fine. When it gets to events and stuff, and again, both of us grew in this and are much better than what we probably used to be. But when it comes to like going to an event or if he's doing an appearance somewhere where you're just there, and especially the wife, you're just tagging along, and some
Yeah.
people will engage you in conversation, but most people are there for the guy. And so
Yeah.
small talk is not my forte. And so it's sometimes is hard to
Yeah.
engage in a setting that is, yeah, not as comfortable. So but like my mom said, she definitely saw us both come out of our shells a little bit, kind of, yeah, just grow up maybe. We
Yeah.
grew up in those 10 years. So
Yeah. That's awesome that you asked your mom. And that's awesome how she put it, that it developed you. And like, yeah, it's like I just think about a lot of different scenarios, like, and I love this insight because, like I said, like, you represent a lot of women that that are there that don't feel comfortable, that don't like, they're just simple. Like you guys, like literally went back to your Kansas home. Like, was that hard? Did you feel like, I mean, for Jordy, like, was that, yeah, how has that been for you guys?
yeah, so the transition it was, I guess it was a little bit honestly weirder than what I anticipated. Like I said, we both grew up here. I mean, we lived here basically, I mean, until we left and moved to Green Bay. Um, so I guess part of my brain thought that it would be the same, when we moved back. And obviously came back to visit and, but like there were so many people around that I didn't know. And, things had changed a little bit. And it didn't help that we moved back summer of 2019. And so then of course COVID hit shortly after that. And so we didn't have a lot of it didn't, I guess, happen as quickly, like getting to know like so for instance, the parents of, our kids' friends that were in school, like we just didn't, and actually it was kind of hard for our kids too, because they didn't make friends as quickly. Like, so, the COVID story that everybody has that made life difficult, it was kind of within that transition. it just made a little, I guess, more difficult to assimilate back in. We lived with my sister-in-law while we were building our house. And so we didn't even really have, and she was great. Like it was, she lives by herself. She has a plenty of space for all of us. She was amazing. I think it was bittersweet for her for us to move out when we did, but
Aw, yeah.
it was really great, but we didn't, have our own space and like all of our own things. And so it was a little bit of a different transition than what I expected. I kind of just thought we'd, jump
Yeah.
back in and would be, and we still have some friends here that we had before. And so that was nice. But they also, I mean, with us being gone, I mean, we were still friends, but they had made other friends, and so it
Yeah.
was just I guess, yeah, a little different.
Mhm.
It's much better now. Obviously, we've been back here for 5 years. So
Okay.
um, been enough time now that we've, gotten back in the swing of things and kind of, yeah, know what we're doing now.
Yeah, yeah,
It kind of was just a little bit of like, not what are we doing here, but like, what do we do? Like, this
yeah,
is, I just don't even
yeah,
know. So
yeah, you're acclimating to it. And so do you like, yeah, like, do you farm? Like, do you like so that's like the occupation? Like, is that what it
okay,
transitioned to?
I do not farm.
Sorry, I'm like, I don't know this world. I don't even know where to
Jordy does. He loves it. I mean, that really was, I mean, aside from family being here, that was a big driving force of coming back here because he
Ah,
wanted to farm. Like he really likes it. He helps his mostly his brother. He helps his dad. He helps my dad. So he's kind of, yeah, he's doing that a lot of days. He also coaches a lot. Which is
oh, okay.
great. He's so competitive, as most of you know professional athletes are. So it was a, and he always said he didn't want to coach in college or the NFL. I think he would have been really great at it. He would be really great at it. But he just didn't want that lifestyle, I guess.
Mhm.
He just saw like what coaches miss, and not that, I mean, every coach is different, and a lot of it kind of depends on the head coach too. So he's kind of seen, I guess, the good and bad of it. I mean,
Mhm.
he just didn't want to miss out on stuff. He didn't want to miss our kids' things. And so he always said he wasn't going to do that. But he now is coaching. Well, this year he was assistant middle school football, which our oldest was in middle school. Oh, sorry, I keep hitting the table. Our oldest played. And so he was coaching him. And then for the last several years, his sister is the head girls basketball coach at the high school, our local high school. And so her assistant, which he loves. And actually, little side fact, his favorite sport probably was basketball to
Ah,
play. He was good at basketball. He could have played basketball probably somewhere as well. But I don't know. I think he just knew his,
let's get things
so
going.
like, yeah, I guess maybe because he walked on at K-State. So it's not even like,
Wow.
he got a scholarship, from a Division I school, but didn't, with basketball. Um, so yeah, I guess I don't know. I think it wasn't necessarily again that he was thinking like, oh, I want to make it to the NFL. It was that he knew his potential. I think he didn't want
Yes.
to question like, what would have happened if I'd gone, to a D1 school or whatever. So,
Mhm.
and loved K-State. I mean, that's where we went to college football games growing up. That was the
Wow.
local college, the local team. So I think it was just kind of a natural choice. But so where was I going?
I'm like that all the time. No, we were just talking about Jordy, like, he liked to farm and he liked to coach.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
So
he's coaching.
basketball was probably his favorite. So he did that. He coached middle school track. He coaches pretty much all of our kids' sports and stuff. So he loves it. I joke, or I he it's a joke, but also kind of true. That I tell him he's addicted to coaching, which he kind of is. Like he really likes it.
Yeah,
So
that's awesome.
yeah, which is good. So he stays
You
plenty busy.
you have 3 kids, right?
Mhm. Yep.
Okay.
Eighth
And how old
grade.
are they now?
So
8th
Royals,
grade.
8th grade. Brooks is in third grade, and Ada is in first grade. So 14, 9, and 7.
Awesome. Okay, 14. Okay. Oh, that's like my kid's age. Well, my last one, he's 6, so he'd be a year
Oh,
younger.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so again, so that farming thing, like, is it farming? This is like I'm entering a different world. Like, is it farming to like, are you like, okay, like I am like
What
I'm farming all
farming?
these things for produce to sell? Like,
Sure,
is it
sure.
like do like
Yeah, so they do they raise so his like I guess main family business or his grandpa and dad they sell Black Angus bulls. So they actually
oh my.
like genetic stuff and like artificial insemination and stuff like that to get like the best genetic bull, and then they sell the bulls to people who
Okay.
mostly probably I'm guessing for to raise beef to then for steak to slaughter
Okay,
and
yeah.
like the best kind cuts of meat. But they also do a lot of, I mean, they grow wheat, they grow soybeans, they grow corn. Some of it, the corn, some of it they chop for feed for the cattle, but a lot of it they sell too. So they do kind of all that.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, like, I'm like, I feel stupid asking these questions because it's just not anything I know.
Oh, there's a
Um,
lot of different. I mean, while in Green Bay, as you know, a lot of it was dairy farming, which we
yes.
don't do anything like that. So,
Okay, okay. Okay, so as I'm thinking of, like, different things, I like to talk about the fun, like, the lighthearted stuff, and I don't know about you, because like, I just, even referring to, like, us trying to meet up for the Zoom, like, you had referenced, like, "Oh, like, I'm gonna get ready," like, this is like, it's all about efficiency, right? And you're like, I have to do something, so I'm gonna have my makeup on this day," like, that's how we roll. It's all about being efficient. So I look at you, you are always like you're totally like just natural, just like a natural beauty. You never wore makeup or anything like that. Like you would wear it for yeah, different events. Like so and I refer to this transition, like especially in maybe not all teams, obviously not all teams, but for Wisconsin, like, when you get there, you have to like prepare, you have to dress warm and it's not about looks. It's about like, how can I endure 3 plus hours in the cold? And so there is like, everybody comes in that way and not everybody like transition out, but you're one of them. Like for me, like Kabir, he never purchased or whatever. I don't even know what that is, but like we didn't have a suite, but he did a radio show. And so that radio show had a suite. So I always got invited in. So I was like, oh
mhm.
my gosh, like, yay, I get to like not have to worry about wearing like this ugly parka. It was like a swimmer's or a softball parka from like college that I had. I was like, I get to dress cute, and so that's like the reality that,
Yeah.
it's like part of it. Like for you, like, yeah, how is that? Like, I don't know, like, what did you think you were going through that transition? Did you feel that you had to like, okay, like the pressure of looks, did that ever come to you? And I mean, because we all like, I think of like, was it America's Got Talent or that other one? There was those shows.
The like modeling ones
No,
or
the singing one. What's the singing one
oh,
American Idol? American Idol.
Idol. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so you see like Carrie Underwood, right? So you see Carrie. I remember watching the first videos, super simple, all this stuff, and then toward the end, when they get to the finals, they are decking her out. She's got like
Mhm.
it's totally different. Like I think of us kind of in the same boat, and so like for you, like, did you feel like this pressure? Did you like what were different challenges for you in that area of looks and clothing, and or did you not?
Um, I I guess yeah, like I know you mentioned, I know I said I just am super simple. I guess in different ways, I just knew that if it was gonna bring more stress to my life to like try to keep up or what, like I just didn't do it. I don't know. I was just like, I would
Awesome.
rather just not wear makeup every day. And there's actually so one funny story. So our kids went to the same school, and we actually there's a gal at school who I forget, I had maybe something going on that day, so I actually had not workout clothes on. I had makeup on. My hair was maybe down, and she was like, "Well, you look really nice today." And I was like, "Yeah,
Thanks.
a little out of the ordinary, right?" So yeah, I don't know. I'm not a I I I don't pay attention to like I guess labels and stuff. Another story, we were at an event at the atrium. I forget what it was, maybe like the green and gold gala that they used to do or something. There was this two ladies that came up to me, and maybe their husbands were talking to Jordy, I don't remember. But anyway, they were like almost like gushing over me. I was very, I mean, uncomfortable. I'm just like, whoa. But she's like, "Oh, I love your dress. Like, what brand is it?" And I'm like, "I have no idea. Like, I don't
Yeah,
even know.
I
Like, I
got
don't
this
know what you're
at the
expecting me to
mall,
say,
right?
but I just liked it and I bought it." And then she's like, "Oh, and I love your shoes. What are they?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Like, I don't know." I just
Yeah.
don't pay attention to that stuff, and actually personally prefer, I mean, it doesn't bother me that other people like it, but I don't like name brands plastered all over my stuff. And so I just don't, if I like it, I buy it. I mean, within reason, obviously. And
Mhm.
I've never been one to, yeah, collect a lot of stuff. But if I'm looking for something, if I like it, and actually, this is a little out of my vocabulary, but another mutual friend of ours told me once that if it's not then I thought this was really good advice in anything in life, whether it's like what you say yes and what you say no to. She's like, if it's not a hell yes, then it's a hell no. And I'm like,
Yes.
I like that. And so
Yes.
I've used that,
Yes.
um,
Yeah.
which is
It's
great. Again, like that goes back to even what you were saying about feeling, I don't know, even, like in the limelight of things that I should do. Like I said, if it I felt guilty saying no. I'm gonna be honest about that. Like there was definitely, I felt guilt um saying no. I had to learn how to say no. I When it came, so the struggle that I had probably the most was all like the money. I felt guilty in a way of just having so much. Like I was like, we don't,
okay.
like, why do we have some, like, and so I also had to learn, because there for, at first I wanted to give money to everybody that asked us for it, which is
Mhm.
not a good plan. I mean, it's really not. And whatever letter he would get, fan mail, and of course we wouldn't send those people money. But I felt guilty when people would be like, "Oh, I need money for this or I need money for that." And I'm like, but they need money and we have money. And so that was something else that I had to learn and grow in,
Wow.
was, how to be a good steward of what God has given us.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I can't remember exactly how we got there. But,
No,
um,
I love that. Like, I love, I felt I've had to really push through things, like, I just remember thinking that, um, yeah, like, is it bad that we have this money? And, I just remember, like, yeah, it's like you just kinda, for me, I remember I went to, the fake first party, right? Those, like, fake ones, right? And I was looking at one, and I don't care about brand names either, and so I don't know, I think it was Chanel or something like that, so it was like the C or whatever. So I'm just looking at it as, is it cute, is it not? I was gonna buy it, and then I'm thinking, "Wait, people are going to look," and this is, see, you don't have it seemed like you didn't have this, which I did. People are gonna look at me and they're gonna think, "Oh my gosh, she spent all this money on that."
mm,
And because it'd just be obvious that she could
mhm,
afford it, that she would, and so I felt like I was like a slave to, like this pressure of, not too much, but just like when it came to the NFL world, I'm like, I don't wanna look like this, but I wanna have fun. I wanna look cute, and, and so that was where that consumption of, like, of getting deals, and
mm.
and and shopping addiction, being preoccupied with that. And then I remember, like, our church was super simple, and I felt like I couldn't even, like, dress like just normal self because they're so simple. It's Wisconsin
Mhm.
simple. So I felt like I
Yeah, I
was
mean,
really
really,
thinking,
even here, like moving back here, I mean, well, first of all, I don't have the things to dress up for like we used to. I mean, like I
yes.
just it just doesn't exist.
Yeah,
um,
totally.
and but yeah, I agree. Like there's times where I mean I don't like attention. So I'm like, well, I have this really cute outfit, but I feel like nobody else is gonna be dressed like this. So I don't wanna stand
Yeah,
out. So I'm not gonna wear it.
right, and they just sitting there, you have this cute outfit you wanna use, but you have nowhere to go.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, like, I really appreciate the fact that, like, um and this is what I'm hoping for with more women, is that you kinda shielded yourself from a lot of those things, and that's a maturity on your end, and that's, like, you knowing your identity, um, that you were like, "You know what, like, I don't." I seem like you put fast boundaries up, and I think you allowed yourself to eliminate a lot of stress. So, like, kudos for sure to you on that. And so yeah, so that's like, wow, like if more of us had that mentality, if more of us were set on our identity and had better foundations, I think it would eliminate a whole lot of issues, stress, like financial things. Like, oh, and you were talking about finances. Like for me, I had to work through, like, I just felt like, okay, if we have this money, yeah, we have to give it, we have to give it. And, and I never felt like, um, investing in myself was, and I talk about in the book, like, it's okay that I give to other people, but I felt like I couldn't invest in something like, people think about school, but I'm like, wait, I wanna learn how to write better. I wanna learn how to do this better. Like, this is gonna cost that much. Oh my gosh. Like, no, like, I probably shouldn't. But God had to really work with me to say, you know what, you're a gift just as much as your finances are a gift. And so you investing in you is helping other people. And so, like, I was just, yeah, like, it's interesting because, like, that money thing is definitely like, it's not an easy thing to navigate when you have a whole lot, and especially, and so, like, again, like, you came from that place of, like, "Well, I wanna give it," and a lot of women come from this place of, like, "Ooh, now I have it, like, what can I spend it on?" And
Mhm.
so, so good stewardship on both spectrums is definitely, like, huge. A couple other things, looking at time. Um, what was this? Were you on Okay, yeah. Did you sell something?
Oh, yeah. Sensi, yeah. Yeah, there was a time where I kind of just wanted to get out of the house and meet people. I don't know. I mean, we have great friends like from the teams that I mean, all our years on the Packers, even people that we still keep in touch with when he was with the Raiders for 1 year. Like we have great friendships and the people, and that's the thing. Like I tell people, I'm like, there are people not associated with the NFL. I'm like, there are so many good people in the NFL. Like you don't hear about those. I mean, you do to an
Mhm.
extent, they have the Walter Payton Man of the Year award and stuff, like that. But like you hear more often the stupid stories of things that
Yes,
people do.
yes,
And like,
right.
that's not the norm. In my, in my experience, it's just
Yeah,
not the norm. And so, um, but we also like we hung out with our neighbors a lot. We made really good friends through church, like through the kids'
yes.
school. So we had friendships and relationships outside of the football world as well. But yeah, I kind of just wanted, I don't know, I just felt like I want to do something different, like something that I had for me. Like I said, a lot of things is focused, on football, whether it's, the things we do, the people we hang out with, the conversation, the, people coming up for games all the time. Like, I mean, and again, it's not like it was bad, but and my sister at the time sold Cincy. And so I just signed up under her and I was like, this will be fun. Like, again, get me out of my comfort zone. Like, I
Yeah,
don't love getting up in front of people to talk, but I knew it would be good for me. It would stretch me a little bit. I'd meet new people. It was something, to just kind of do for myself. And so, and I made enough money to like buy us some new like furniture and stuff like that. So
that's
I
good,
was like, yeah,
yeah.
I did, I bought this or I made this and I'm gonna, buy us some new. So, um, so yeah, it was kind of I, and I actually earned a trip for us to the Dominican Republic, like through sales.
Hey,
And,
that's pretty good.
and then after that, so you could earn that just through sales. And then like the next year, they changed it to you had to like have recruitment in with that as well. And
Yeah.
after that, I had no chance because I was like, that is not what I'm
Yeah.
about to start doing is like trying to recruit people to sell this stuff.
Right. Yeah, well, it's
So
funny because so I'm thinking I gosh, what did I do? What did I not do?
you did the make unique.
I did unique, that was toward the end.
Yeah. The
Before
chocolate.
that, that you
Yeah.
were yeah, I sold that I loved. That was really good.
It was good. I agree.
Like, okay, I don't remember what I sold in, I think it was Advocare at one time. And I'm
Mm,
like, "Gosh, why did I feel that I need to do that? Or what was that thing?" So, there's, like and not that it's bad or good, but I'm like, "You know what? There is something about us that, one, like, I want to contribute." So, there's that.
mhm.
There's a social piece. There's a, like, "Ooh, I'm good at something," or, "I like this. I just wanna share it." And I
Yeah.
felt like such a failure every time I was like, "I'm done." But just like you, like, there was these points where it's like, Unique I loved, and but I'm like, "You know what? The more product that they get, the more that I had to learn, the more that I had to" and I was like, "I don't wanna do that." And so I felt like I really, like I felt like I'm such a loser that I start these things and I don't finish.
No, I don't know.
Uh,
I see it as I don't know, it like served its purpose for me. And
okay,
then
yeah,
once I didn't enjoy it anymore, then I didn't do it. I mean, I think I still sold it for I mean, I maybe stopped doing parties and stuff, but there were people who would still like reorder stuff for me. And I
yeah,
kept my up,
yeah,
you know, whatever you
yeah.
would call it. Sold it still for a while and then yeah, I just kind of gave it up. So
Yeah, and it's kinda like and it is, like, it's, like, I don't think it's I don't think it's right that I thought I was losing, but I was like, "Why is that?" And so it's
um
just like, man, like, we were created for a purpose, and it's like, I think there's just that natural search to go, "Okay, what am I, like, meant for? What am I made for?" And so, like, as we close out, like, I like to um, I did that first book, and then, like, the second book, I really got to, like, hone in on like who God created a woman to be. And that's how I came up with, or it was God. Someone was prophetically saying, you're a contending matriarch. That's what you do. You fight for your family, you fight for your marriage, you're fighting for like women and that that you want to reach and so I was like I have a hard time with that like or matriarch. I felt like I didn't know the definition just because of what I was kind of given as the definition, which was wrong. Like it almost was like matriarch and feminism were the same and they weren't. And so that's was like, I didn't feel good about that. And someone was telling me like, no, matriarch is like she's a fighter, she represents her family. She's wise, like it's like respect not only from women but from men. And so there was like a clear definition um of a woman of God versus like this woman who's just trying to say, look at me. And so through that, um, I'm like, Lord, how do I say contending matriarch without saying it? And that's when, like 4 o'clock in the morning, I remember like he said, look up warrior in Latin. And so that's how I came up with Bellator. I'm like, oh, I'm like, Lord, is this? I actually looked in the journal yesterday. I was kind of like looking at the past. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is where I was asking, Lord, is this it? So when I asked my husband about it, he's like, how about Lady Bellator? And so it was lady, which is royalty, which is, like the princess or the queen, and warrior. So she's those two things. So that's when I was like, oh, okay, Lord, like, okay, now I get it. And so as I've been stepping in and trusting, okay, Lord, is this what you want me to do? He's been able to, he's shown me like the definition of that. And so Proverbs 31, which, all women know, it's like God had showed me 4 pillars of her. So she's the daughter of God. She's the bride of Christ, whether married or not. She's always going to be the bride. The nurturing aspect of her. So she is like every woman has that caring, nurturing thing. And then so she's an impact maker. And so I like to highlight every woman that I'm going to have here. I want to highlight her because she's just not mom of and wife of. And those are great things, but there's so much more that God has for her. Where when she starts living that out, I know for me, like, I love that my kids can see the parts of me that they've probably never seen before because it was just so focused on them. And so I think they're like, "Ooh, like mom, she's got, it's just they just see different parts of me now." And so like 2 more questions, like now knowing what you know now, what would you tell your younger self? And then 2, where are you now? Like where is God calling you to in this season of your life?
Okay. What would I tell my younger self? Um, I mean, it went so fast. I mean, definitely enjoy it. I do feel like I enjoyed it. I don't know. I don't honestly, I mean, crazy as it sounds, I don't know that there's much I would change. Like
Yeah, you
we
were pretty
loved
solid.
we loved our time in Green Bay. I That was definitely a God thing taking us there, because had we been, plunked in with the Raiders to begin with, like coming from rural Kansas, which again, like even when we lived out there, like we lived farther east of Oakland in the Tri Valley. So, which is actually, there is more of like a farming community out that way.
Really.
So I know, who would have known? So, we still ended up where we needed to be. And so God would have taken care of us no matter what. But it was definitely the best place for us to be, a smaller NFL market, kind of, farming type Midwest. I don't know if Green Bay or Wisconsin's technically probably not the Midwest, but um so yeah, I guess just make sure you enjoy it. Like
Okay.
and it doesn't have to make it enjoy it, and it doesn't, like I said, a lot of it for me, the struggle was the money part. And so don't make the enjoyment, like it doesn't have to relate to the money. Like enjoying it doesn't mean buying more things. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean going places. It doesn't mean, which is also enjoyable. Like, don't get me wrong, but that is
Yeah.
not what makes it enjoyable. Like, do
Yeah.
the, you know, and Jordy will joke. He told I don't really remember this, but he says that he told me like, don't, make a lot, don't put yourself out there. Like, don't make a lot of, because we could be gone, and then it'll just make
Yeah.
it that much harder. But
Oh, yeah.
apparently didn't listen. And I mean, which he's thankful for now, because, a lot of people that even I met, their spouses became, his really good friends. So yeah, I guess I would tell people, yeah, just make sure you enjoy it. You
Yeah.
make relationships, you take opportunities that, you maybe wouldn't have gotten otherwise.
Right. It's good. It's like you're making you want them to make the most of it.
Mhm.
And I think like I don't know, when I think about you, and I love that, like I said, like I didn't know you. I know you so much more. And it's like, wow, like she really did have a solid foundation. She was grounded in so many ways that you eliminated a whole lot of stress that you were able to enjoy it. That you were like, if I if I know this will, like I don't know what God is gonna do, but I know that this is something I want to share. Like, if you're okay, I found that Young Life video
Oh,
of Jordy and you guys. So I don't know.
yeah.
But yeah, like I don't know, because I just think that's almost like you're enjoying the ride, you know? And so I love that. I just love that. So and so then the last thing, yeah, like what season are you in? What are you doing? I know that you're doing some things with Laura Hawk and Fawn. There was something, I don't know if it was a while. I don't know if it was a while ago, but I just remember was it like a trip, a mission trip or something?
Oh, yeah. So okay, so yes, we went to Honduras together. So yeah, I definitely, like, knowing we were like towards the end of Jordy's career, I definitely started having the thoughts of like, okay, like what am I gonna do now? Like what do what are my strengths? Like what does God want me to do? I had thoughts of possibly, I mean, I like to work out, I like to exercise. Like I was like, do I open like kind of a this was my thought, and who knows if it would have been good or not, but I was like, open like a subtly Christian, like workout place where I play like, and maybe not all the music, but like, throw in some like Christian songs, like here and there. Um, Maybe even like pray at the end of classes, like stuff like that. So I was like, well, but that didn't like really excite me. Um, so so our youngest two kids are adopted, and through that journey they're both adopted like domestically. They're both born in Texas as infants, and so that's the route we ended up taking. But we did look into like foster care and adopting out of foster care, adopting internationally. We talked with people who had done all these things. Ultimately, just kind of where we were at that point in our life, it just kind of, we just felt like God was calling us to just adopt domestically. And so, but through that, like it kind of gave me a heart for the foster care system and just kids in foster care. And so when we moved back to Kansas, like in the process of looking for a church, so our church there in Green Bay, we had a group. I guess it wasn't necessarily connected with the church, but there were several families who had either adopted or who fostered at church. And so we kind of formed our own little group, and we'd get together, every so often and just kind of fellowship and do life
challenges.
Together. Just so that our kids know, there are other families like us.
Yeah.
And so one thing we kind of were looking for in a church was if they had any sort of like foster care adoptive like group. And so we knew a couple people who went to this church. Our church is called New Hope. And so we looked it up. They had a, kind of a foster care, orphan care type group. And so we tried it out. We met with the people who were kind of heading it up. And they were like, we really like the church. We like the people. And they were like, well, there's not a lot going on right now in this group. And actually, even since then, there were quite a few like adoptive families in the church that have since left, not on because they've moved, like that it's not at the church. They've just, life has taken them elsewhere. And so, but anyway, they were like, and it was a husband and wife. They're like, it's pretty much just us running it. It's not super active. Like, here's the things we used to do, but the church before we started attending it, like a year or two before, kind of split. And with that, and then COVID and stuff, it kind of like fell away. And so, and they're like, and we're probably going to be moving at some point. And so I was like, okay. And at that point I was like, I'm taking this over. I know I am. Like, I just know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So it turned out that, so the gal, while they were still here for like a year at least, or a year and a half. But she kind of pulled in some other people to form like a group to run this. It's called Team 127, based off James 127, calling us to care for the orphans and widows of the world. And so they ended up leaving. I ended up taking it over. I took it over, I guess, like at the beginning of the summer. What year was that? Not last summer, but the summer before. So 2021.
Oh, 21. Okay.
22. Yeah. What year are we?
Yeah. And you sound like me.
Yeah,
This is not my forte.
And yeah, so Fawn had, she had asked me to go to Honduras. She went with a group called Rice Bowls. She grew up in Honduras. And so she had been going there for a long time, and she has a big heart for those kids. But we went to an orphanage there. And I just kind of felt like God was saying, I don't know, he was kind of just giving me direction on what to do with this Team 127 at church. And so since then, we now, and again, another crazy connection. So I'm probably talking too long here. You might have to edit some of this, but so there's a group called Welcomed in Wisconsin, and they knew that we had adopted, but their ministry is more for forming care communities around foster families. And so bringing them meals, praying for them, watching the kids if they need, helping with yard work, or, whatever they need. Like, they have this care community around them that they can, go to for help if they need it. And so which it was a great concept. And so he had contacted us and asked us to come speak at an event that they were going to have. And I was kind of like, I mean, I love what you're doing, but we just don't have a lot of like our story doesn't really match up with that. Like we haven't done foster care, we don't have I don't know that world. Like I don't know what we would say, to
Right.
encourage the people that are there. And
Yeah.
so we ultimately said no, but I flagged his email because I just knew, and probably God was just telling me like I was going to want that again someday. And so fast forward probably a year and a half or so, and I take over this team to 127, and I was like, I would love to start these care communities, like for, to care for these foster families and these foster kids. And so we are doing that. We have care communities around like foster families that are within our church. This will be our second summer that we're taking a group from our church to Honduras to the orphanage on um, a mission trip. And we just do other little things like we speak some people in to like talk about the state of the foster care system locally. We are getting ready here this month to do a snack drive to take snacks to foster families, because the kids are home in the summer and that's a lot more food that you have to be giving them. So yeah, I run that ministry. I have people helping me, and I would not be able to do all of this stuff. My brain would probably explode if I didn't have
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
helping me. Um, and then I also with that, I would love to foster one day, and I think uh Jordy is kind of there, kind of. I don't know. I feel like women just in general, kind of just like you said, just with the nurturing, like we just have more of a heart for that kind of stuff.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
with me being involved, he's kind of like, well, maybe we are supposed to at some point. Maybe we're not ready, but until we are, hopefully at some point. I'm also doing CASA. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's court appointed special advocate. So basically, you do like 8 weeks of training to become an advocate. You're basically assigned a kid in foster care, and like your
Yeah.
focus is just on them. So you're making sure their needs are getting met. You're making sure that their voice is being heard, that they're in a good foster home, that they're just what has been like court ordered to happen is happening, just all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's kind of where God very definitely led me, which is nice. I love it when he just takes the question out of it. Like
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
makes it so much easier.
I first of all, thank you so much for your time. Like, so enlightening, so like wow, like refreshing. Um, and yeah, like I think this is exactly what I want to do. Like, you are not just like the wife of like, if you didn't answer the call, like these kids wouldn't be getting like the love and the attention and like God's like we're supposed to be God's hands and feet and you're doing that. And so like two out of two, I'm like, wow, like this is cool. Like all these things that God has called us to be, you're doing it. And so like, yeah, like I so appreciate you taking the time to do this. I know like this is like not your thing, but man, like this is what I get too. Like, one thing that I was told is like when your gifts, your purpose and your burdens, when those things line up, that's your like sweet spot. And that's why like for us, like, okay, it was fun, the makeup was fun, the chocolate was fun, all this stuff. But like, no, like God has like He's created us for these things. And so He's created you for what you're doing right now. And so like I'm so happy. Like as I start, doing this and housing these things, like I definitely want to highlight what you are doing so that we can like spread the word and share what you're doing and just inspire other women to do like to live up fully like the calling that they have. So
Mhm. Yeah,
so yeah.
and I also say so a little side, I guess I appreciate that am mature enough now to listen and, I don't know, because there probably was a time and Jordy, I mean, this was all I knew God had something for me. I didn't know what yet, but Jordy was like, as I said, so excited to come back and farm, and he wanted me to like be doing that too. I'm like, I told him, like, he was like, wants me to, drive feed trucks and like drive combine and like, I don't know, just do all this stuff. And finally, I just told him, I'm like, Jordy, this, this is great that this is what you want to do. And this is what you're feeling called to do. That is not my calling. And that is not what I
Oh,
want to do. And he was
that's
like, okay. Like, I didn't say it like he wasn't like pushing me and I
yeah.
didn't like say that in a mean way. And he was like, oh, okay, like that's fine. But there was probably a point in my life. I mean, I'm a people pleaser also by nature
Yes.
a little bit. And so there was probably also a point in my life where I'm like, okay, well, this is what he wants me to do. Like, I'm going to do it, even though I don't really want to.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's a great point because I know for a whole lot of my NFL life, especially in the beginning, I felt like I kept saying it's not about me. It's not about me. And it's not
mm,
about me, but it's not denying me.
sure.
And
Yeah.
so like I love that you were yeah, you had the courage to say that because he loves you either way. And it doesn't take away that you are his helpmate and that you help him, to do all of these things. But no, you are definitely called to different thing. And you probably wouldn't he probably has better people doing those things that he's been asking you
For
to
sure.
do.
Yeah. For They have much better help than me. I
Yeah. Yeah, it saves your marriage. It saves your marriage that he's
yeah,
not gonna have to go, "Hey, Emily, you saw you're not very good at
well,
this."
no, and yeah, we it can be a strain for sure sometimes, so
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Emily, again, thanks for your time. I appreciate it. And yeah, thanks guys. So I'm not sure when we're gonna, get all this out, but I really appreciate because like I said, you definitely you're not alone. And so like I love that I got to um hear what I've always wondered about, like just different people and different cultures and different things. So again, I appreciate your time, Emily.
yeah, thanks for having me.
All right. Okay. Bye. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Until next time, love well, celebrate your strength, and discover the new things you are capable of. You are a light in the lives of those around you, and no night is too dark for you to find your way.